Joining us for Talent Month.
Morning, Garry. How are you doing?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. I love it. I love it. Me too. Me too.
Thank you for saying that back because people ask you, how are you? And you just go, I can really be brutally honest and tell them how I really are. Or I can living the dream. And they're nearly always. Anyway, it's not about me today. It's about you. So thank you for taking the 10, 15 minutes of your time to talk to us about your career. I'm not going to say and fall into the trap that it's been a long career, but it's been an interesting career to date.
Yeah, wise choice of words there, Garry, I have to say.
Thank you. 35 years of marriage and two daughters in the house. I'm learning.
Very good. Very good. Definitely lessons learned.
Tell us a bit about yourself. Start at the start, the middle, the great bits, the not so great bits, and
Yeah. Well, it started with Anixter, God, many, many moons ago. I'm with the company now over 28 years. Now 28 years is kind of broken up a little bit because when we originally started, it was myself, Brendan and Brian, just the three amigos. And we started in a very small place in Bluebell. And for the first number of years, I was only taken on as admin and, credit control and general office duties, to be fair. So doing a bit of everything. Then I believe it or not, left Anixter for a little while and went traveling. So went to Cayman Islands, Jersey, and so on, and came back 4.5 years later. So in total now I'm back 25 years. And then I moved into sales when I returned and loved it. And then kept going through sales in different roles in different companies and looking after customers as managing their accounts. And then I'm now looking after one of the large social houses in Ireland, and I'm looking after that company now for the last 3 years.
just
And
just one
yeah,
now.
one specific customer, yeah. We say that because there's when I say one customer, there's many, you know, things under that umbrella, as we all know. So we look after them from the MRO side of things, from their panel business, to their VMI, and across many areas and locations in Europe, and even further afield in Asia as well. So it covers a multitude. Yeah.
Much in there just to reflect on because often in this industry,
Mm,
because it has been now woven digital infrastructure into every human being, or not every human being, but most human beings' daily lives. There's a perception maybe that this was just invented when the smartphone was invented,
yeah. Yeah.
when social media was invented. Can I bring you back, if I can, 28 years ago?
Mm.
You were working in this industry, in the digital infrastructure industry, uh, which is probably 2 decades before most people thought it was invented. Let's just
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. I know in the early days, like in the sales, it was mainly big drums of cable, and it was all like actually in the building of these places and centers and everything. Whereas, it was all my power cables and so on. Whereas the company has changed so much now that it's moved into so many different areas. And, to think back when I came back to the company, I don't think I even had a mobile phone 25 years ago when we came back traveling. So yeah, it's crazy to think that, and then everything that's gone along with that, with all the different social platforms. And obviously we're attached to that industry now, and we support it, very well. And these customers, as we all know, that are out there, they expect, pretty high performance, and we try our best to give it to them. So they keep us on our toes for sure.
But it's evolving, and I think we'll get back to that in a second. But when you think back to 28 years ago, and so
Mm,
mainly businesses that were connecting to other businesses, and your own role, you said you were office manager, office administrator, etc., and
yeah.
now you're frontline sales, engineering, sales, the whole thing. For younger listeners who think that they have to make a decision today, and that's it. So
Yeah,
dirt. You know, often when I to people that have been in industries or on industries, it couldn't be further from the truth. Just get in.
absolutely. Yeah. It can spin in so many different directions, can't it? Any role that you take on can, lead you down a different path. And in fairness, within Anixter, there is a lot of opportunities, and there has been a lot of opportunities over the years, to take on different roles. And it depends how brave you are. There's a lot of people that have gone, traveling abroad and, made good lives for themselves abroad, in different countries, Dubai and so on, Australia. There was loads of opportunities. I'm a bit of a homeboard. I did my traveling, wanted to come home and settle down, and that's what we did. And yeah, I don't think they travel around the world with me now. So yeah, I'm probably stay here for the foreseeable.
It's been, an interesting period of time to be in the workplace as a woman.
Yeah, absolutely. It was strange because I was the only girl in sales for many years in Anixter, many, many years. So it was definitely male dominated role. And we had a lot of traveling in the early days to the UK for training and so on. And in fairness, the UK did have more females in the roles over there. So I did get to see a lot more there. So it took a bit of time, but a lot of girls probably just didn't fancy the role, maybe thought, for different reasons, it was kind of male dominated. Obviously, attached at the time to the electrical industry and power cables and construction sites and stuff like that. It probably wasn't as glamorous as other jobs at the time. But look, I'm here. The people are great. In fairness, there's been so many over the years that we've seen come and go, but they're a good group of people. In fairness, yeah. So,
But
but different roles will just bring you meet different people. Some people travel a lot with their roles. I don't travel too much now, to be fair. We part of our role is dealing with panel shops, obviously, to make panels and so on. And we were in Switzerland there just before COVID, taking on a new panel shop and onboarding them with the whole auditing procedures and so on. So something that I never thought I'd be doing back in the administration days, when I started, when as a young 19-year-old, and thinking, we'd just be here for a little while and see how it goes. So yeah, it's definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things. Yeah.
but when you look back at yourself at 19, 20, you obviously had a passion for learning and to apply yourself. Again, going back to skills and services, like what do you believe that are the attributes that you've had early that were developed, worked on? Because the role itself will find its.
Yeah.
What attributes do you think you have or had that pushed you? Because it's often said, the blokes will put their hand up and then look around for the women to actually do the work. We need
Yeah.
putting their hand up and saying, I can do that. Were you that?
Yeah, I suppose I was to a certain extent. I wouldn't be too out there. Like, I don't like being, completely center of attention, or like, middle of the road somewhere. But yeah, I think just to have, we've seen it over the years with so many staff coming and going, and the different characters that come in. But I think you just have to be, level-headed, have that enthusiasm, punctuality. I think you just need to be there every day. You need to be committed. You just need to be probably very old-fashioned values, to be fair. I'm really showing my age now. But I do think that's a lot to do with it, because I've seen it in, different staff and different places when I worked abroad. Some people just don't have that. They don't kind of have that commitment just to come in every day, put in an honest day's work. And look, it's up to you then how far you want to go in that. If you want to push it further, if you want to take on different roles, extra responsibility, you can always put your hand up and ask for more, and if they're there, just grab them if that's what you want to do.
And the other, and this is boys and girls and males and females and all the rest, but there tends to be, because the industry is perceived as very technical,
Yeah.
the track. Can I suggest that maybe when you started, you weren't at all technical?
Absolutely not. And I wouldn't say I'm very technical now at all.
Right.
The great thing these days is, there's so many platforms with, Bluebeam, there's drawings, there's, so many options for you. You don't have to be an engineer to be in a role like that. I think you need to be just focused on what you're doing, just listen to what's needed. There's always a channel to get your information from. You don't have to have degrees from everywhere to be in the role. I think obviously certain parts of it, yes, but I'm not the one making the panels or making the material. I'm the one more in the logistics role to be able to, plan it, make sure everything arrives on time, make sure the customer's happy, make sure the vendors are happy, everyone has what they need to move forward. So I think it's vital in that sort of role that it's important that you don't have to, get all these points on certain things and be a certain level. I think jobs should be open to everyone regarding, doesn't matter about their background. I'm from a working class background, no airs or graces, but I think it's just being level-headed, known what's needed and know how to get it done, to be fair.
You suggest on occasion, actually, because you aren't so narrow and deep technically, it helps. Yep. Because when you get the similar types,
absolutely,
they bounce off each other, whereas sometimes you just say, I appreciate your knowledge. Is that something that you...
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we've been on numerous calls with, engineers and designers and so on. And I think they presume to a certain level, especially in this day and age, that we're all on the same page, men or women alike. And that's great. But, it's not always the case. But you don't have to be there, put your hand up and say, listen, I don't know what you're talking about. But you do know, because you've got access to whatever they're relating to. If you need to ask questions, you ask questions. People are totally open to that now. And I just ask as many questions as you possibly can. And don't be frightened by other people's knowledge, because I was in the beginning, to be fair, when I took this role on. And it was a bit scary dealing with engineers and designers and thinking like, geez, this is never going to work out. But then I did realize quite quickly that that's not what this role is all about. I don't need to know the ins and outs of everything and how it works. I just need to know how I keep them happy, how I keep the customer happy, and move things forward.
It's so obvious from even these few moments that we're spending together. Authenticity is a wonderful attribute, and it's hard. My mother used to say, try and be yourself because everybody else is taken.
Very good. I like that one.
No, because it's hard, isn't it, when you're maybe in your work environment, when you're a different acting a role.
Yeah.
Eventually you get tired. Eventually
you couldn't. Yeah.
So what I'm feeling from you in our brief discussion is authenticity as well. Is you are what you are. You are sort of, you can change behaviors, but not personalities. It's great if you can be your personality. So
absolutely.
We've got 2 more minutes to wrap up. And one question finally is, I read about Wesco Annixter's expansion. I read about your new offices. I read about all this. There's probably a much bigger blend of male, female, all the stuff we discussed. What keeps you excited in 2023?
It is strange, because I know obviously COVID, everyone working from home, and it's kind of, you got used to not seeing too many people. And now with the move back into the office, and it's been a slower move for us because we've expanded so immense, like over COVID. So the amount of extra people now and new staff that's around. I was nearly like a newbie coming into the office, after COVID, because so many people had joined during that time. So I think what kind of keeps us going, and it's a nice fresh feel now in the new building, new people, and you're able to interact now, whereas the office space was a little bit small for us there before we moved. So with the amount of new people that's come on board, so it's good. New building, new feel to it, fabulous new warehouse. I mean, it's enormous. So if we want to go missing, we know where to go. We can go hiding, but no, it's good. It's good. Lots of new people to bounce off in there as well and get to know their stories. So
more water cooler moments, all the banter and
we've got the fancy taps now, Gary. We don't have the water coolers anymore. So we've come up in the world. Yeah. We have.
Wow. So we'll have the fancy tap moments then.
The fancy tap moments, yeah.
Same though, the water cooler. You could hide behind it. pretend that you were interested in all the technical stuff, but really you wanted to find out what went on in Coronation Street.
I know. Well, we've a lovely big canteen now, so we're able to catch up where we never really could do that before. So, so that's cool. We've been doing that now. We're in the new office now a couple of weeks, and yeah, that part is really good.
Well, Belinda, it's been short and sharp, but it's been really interesting. You have a great
Thank
story,
you so much.
lovely story. It transcends across decades when, for many listeners, they didn't know there was an industry before they got the first smartphone. So the so
Yeah, exactly. Me neither. Yeah, yeah.
enthusiasm and your authenticity is infectious. So keep that. And thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Garry.